hear us right now? I got a high Lynn. Okay, good. We've got this going on. All right, well, in the interest of time and everybody that joined us on time, I just wanted to introduce myself very quickly. I'm Lynn Yeldell. I'm one of the team members over at 7th Scout. We are a woman-owned and 100% LGBT-owned agency here in Austin, Texas. We've got several different partners that work on different projects, and we're super lucky to have 3 of us on the line today. I also wanted to take a quick poll. We're a digital marketing agency, so we offered up to the chamber to kind of give some of our best practices that we're working through with our clients right now. But we are by no means the single voice at all. We work with other agencies and so forth. So quickly in the chat, I'm looking right now. If you all will just kind of chat in right now and let us know what your participation is. If you are an agency, if you're a marketer, if you're a client, also let us know, because Tina would love to see. If you are a chamber member, if you're not, Gunnar and Stephanie would love to see, because they're going to get some membership information over to you right now. So while we're doing that in the chat, and we can watch back and forth of who we all are, I also want to do some thank yous big time to Tina Cannon, Gunnar, and to Stephanie for putting this together and really doing, I think, an amazing job of keeping our community and our businesses connected during this time. As you all know, the Chamber does wonderful in-person lunch and learns, does happy hours and so forth. So really appreciative of what they're doing. Did anybody put in the chat also, if you attended, I think we had a virtual happy hour on Monday or Tuesday night, which I thought was a great idea. So while we're kind of getting to go to see everybody in the chat, I'm gonna scan over there. I also wanted to thank very quickly our lunch sponsor, El Alma. Look at this. Ooh, El Alma. For many of you, you were able to order online and or call in your order and do a curbside pickup, and they did a deeply discounted menu for our chamber members. So thank you to El Alma, and thank you to all of us who are trying to keep a little sense of normalcy that's going on right now in our busy, busy world. So it looks like we've got people here. We've got some marketers, a writer, mid-sized tech firm, chamber member, owner of my own company. Hey, Jenna. We've got an LGBT monthly magazine, Outsmart Houston. A big shout out to Outsmart. Thank you guys for what you're doing as well. Nonprofit in Pflugerville for Education Foundation, some business owners, a 7th Scout client, Don Haga. You're gonna hear about his company a little bit later. Business owner and client, Jody and Kai Evans. Love hearing that. So, and love El Alma, me too, Sam. All right, well, thank you so very much for letting us know who you are. Rhodes is gonna be doing a good job of keeping people on mute. We encourage you to use your video camera if you can, if you feel so. We're gonna mute folks, but we also encourage you to take yourself off of mute if you have a question or a correction or a comment along the way, because it sure will be a whole lot more enjoyable if we have some participation. So let's move on to this next slide. As I said, 7th Scout is a local digital agency. We've got, at any one time, about 10 clients. We're a small team, and our client base is small as well, and we like to keep it that way. And one of the things we've started doing in our introductions is actually allowing our team members to introduce the other team member, because no one likes to talk about themselves, not even me, and I like to talk. So as I go on mute, I am going to allow Eve, our designer. She selected the opportunity to introduce Rhodes. So take it away, Eve.
Thanks, Lynn. I'd like to tell you all a little bit about Rhodes. He's a partner and director of digital at 7th Scout. And after 15+ years in the web design and development field, Rhodes is still excited to create within the digital space. Having worked with a range of clients from Dell to HomeAway to the University of Texas, Rhodes brings years of experience to finding the best solution for each client's needs. The ever-changing landscape of technology keeps this process exciting and provides new tools to use in the development of creative and innovative solutions. And aside from that, Rhodes is just a really fantastic human being. I'm gonna mute myself, and I'm gonna pass the mic to Rhodes, and he's going to introduce Lynn.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Eve. It's my pleasure to introduce Lynn. So Lynn is one of those very odd unicorns that has that blend of being very, very personable and outgoing, but also that very tactical financial background. So she's got her MBA from UT and her undergrad from the University of Alabama. And she's making some sort of symbol right now. And she was actually voted one of the top 20 women to ever graduate from the University of Alabama. So this is one of those things where we get to brag about our coworkers when nobody would ever brag about themselves. Like she mentioned, she's the owner of and runs Seventh Scout, so we're proud of that. She's also the founder of L Style G Style magazine, so I'm sure a lot of folks on here remember L Style G Style, and is also the current board chair for the Long Center, as well as a board member of KUT. But what we love about her at Seventh Scout is that she kind of marries that and finding that sweet spot between the financial, very strategic component of working with our clients, and then also that personable connection with the clients and what our clients are trying to do. So thanks, Lynn. And I will actually hand it over to Lynn, who will now introduce Eve.
That was so fun. Thank you so much. This is so much easier to introduce the people that you're passionate about working with, rather than talking about yourself. So I encourage everyone, if you don't do this already, adopt it, because it's really nice, and we all need a little dose of nice these days. So I have the privilege of introducing Eve. Eve, if you notice on the slide right there, it says that Eve is our designer, but I really feel like that is such a narrow word for the broad experience and strategy that she brings to the table. So what I love is that she makes things look beautiful as the end project, and makes things really connect with what our clients are trying to do. But there's a lot of strategic and understanding of who the specific personas and clients are, and it really matches up super nicely. So she is our art director and designer with over 2 decades of experience creating work that informs, inspires, and engages. Eve is passionate about creating purposeful work that conveys the authentic essence of her clients' brands and gets their audiences to take action. She's worked with clients across a wide range of industries, including AutoNation, Bayer, Caesars Entertainment, KKR, Shell, and Texas Parks and Wildlife. Eve is a founding board member and former communications chair of the Central Texas Transgender Health Coalition, and has a Bachelor's of Arts in Communication and Design from Carnegie Mellon University. It is such a privilege to work side by side with Eve, and really I look forward to you learning a little bit more about her skills as we delve into this presentation. And again, encourage you to ask her, ask Rhodes, ask myself questions, and challenge along the way, because that's why we're here to learn. All right, I want to go back very quickly. Megan Hurwitz did put a text in here that she can't hear anything. Can I get a thumbs up from Rhodes and Eve? Everybody, we can hear each other. And Megan, if you would put in the chat if you are better on everything that you can hear. And oh, by the way, Tina, no, it's not, I wasn't top 20 because they let 20 in, they let 21 in. That's how I got top 20. Yes, it's a slog. Anyway, fine. So why are we here? This is an article that I read in Forbes magazine, and it talked about why companies turn to digital marketing to survive COVID-19. And this is something that I feel so lucky, those of you who know me, that we happen to have an agency that specializes in digital marketing right now, because we're able to do something. And however small it might be, and so forth, it just feels good to somehow be able to help chamber members and help our fellow businesses. This quote from Forbes shook me. It said, in the coming months, businesses are going to become more reliant than ever on their digital strategy. Without wanting to sound too alarmist, in many cases, it will be the deciding factor in whether they make it through the tough times ahead. Now, again, not everybody can take their products onto a virtual world. It was said earlier, I'm the chair of the board of the Long Center. we are going through very desperate times right now because we gain money and make money by doing in-person gatherings of groups and performance, performing arts, restaurants, bars. There are so many businesses that this may not be applicable to. So I am by no means saying you can spin up a website, start a Facebook page, and save your business. This is some very specific times for some very specific companies that we're going to be marching through. So here's a top 4 that we came up with, because first, people like lists, and second, we kind of wanted to keep it a little bit more actionable. And so we're going to talk about an arc. Some of this, it might be a little bit 101, and others, this might be the first time that you're ever seeing this, you know, in your business cases. So first, we always have a saying in 7th Scout: you've got to know who you're talking to. You've got to know that persona, your audience that's specific for your business and your business only. Second, your online identity must match your offline, and it has to be adapted to today's buying and consuming. We saw, before any of this happened, people saying, you know what, yeah, one day we'll get around to updating our website, right? That's when times were good. Even our websites seem to lag. Cobbler's kids have no shoes. We understand that. We're a digital agency for other people, and we continue to look how we can refine our website. The third thing, your social channels more than ever are going to be the way that people come in to consume information about your company, because they can't walk in that front door. So your social channels, your website, are going to be that front door, but also be very careful and conscientious with them, because you don't want them to become that back door for your company, where people would walk right out the back door. Not only attracting new business is incredibly important, but retaining what you had already while you're attracting new business will be incredibly important. And the final one, I've heard lots of people say it, it's a marathon and it is not a sprint. We don't know when this will come to an end. And I am hearing a lot of conversations and having them with our clients as well. When we are on the other side of this, a lot of these behaviors that your consumers are switching to may not switch back. And a lot of what we're suggesting may be permanent switches for your company. So don't tread into this like it's a Band-Aid. I think this is going to take a real fundamental shift in all of our businesses. So let's talk about personas. And, you know, there's a Alice in Wonderland quote that I always like to talk about with our clients. And it's, if you don't know where you're going, any path will take you there. And it's attributed to Alice in Wonderland, but I think it's really super important for us to think about, you know, not only who you are specifically selling to, servicing, trying to recruit and so forth, but even more importantly, where is that person today? In times of tightened resources and increased demand for attention online, you need to be more strategic than ever. We call this phase in our agency the Discover and Plan. And what we do is it really produces the essentials of your digital strategy. The process can take us 4 to 6 weeks. It's a luxury of time that few of us currently have. So what's your most important output right now is knowing your ideal persona. Use fun, descriptive words. Use pictures to communicate across everybody in your team. Within 7th Scout, we have 3 ideal personas, and we call that Owner Owen, Marketing Mary, and Investor Ivan. We're looking for small to mid-sized business owners. We're looking for well-placed marketing managers within maybe a larger company. And we're looking for people who invested in companies that need to kick up their marketing and sales strategy. So I really recommend you for the moment to take pause and not only think about who are the 3 personas that you're trying to reach, get a picture, pin it on your bulletin board, share it in your Slack channels, and really talk about who these people are, and not who they are in a grand scheme of things, but where they are today. Are they sitting at home with their Jazz Fest posters behind them, having to talk to their coworkers that are across town or maybe even across the world? Are they dealing with different time zone issues? Are they having, you know, kids at home? Are they, you know, looking at their pet dachshund over here asleep on the bed and hoping they don't bark in the middle of the presentation that goes through? We are so distracted, but we're also so needing connection right now that you really need to close your eyes and figure out where your Owner Owen, your marketing Mary, and your investor Ivan are today. So anybody have any questions about personas? Happy to have you come off of mute or throw something up in the chat. And if not, we're going to move to the step 2, where we're talking about your digital presence, your offline and online presences. All right. We'll go on, and I'm going to go ahead and let Rhodes talk about one of our clients who happens to be on the call right now. So we got his permission first, thank goodness. But we have a client that came to us, and the name of the company is Clean Suite, and the website is mycleansuite.com. So much like, I'm not picking on Don at all, but much like all of us, we have a website that's out there because we live in Austin and digital strategy is important. But that website, even before any of this hit, may not represent exactly what your company is doing in that moment, because you didn't rely on your website to build traffic. You built your company based on in-person interactions. So I'm gonna go on mute and let Rhodes and Eve talk about how they worked through this.
And I think there's a lot of businesses who are finding themselves in situations where they were used to doing the business building through face-to-face interactions, and the website was a secondary channel. And so I think, for a lot of businesses like Clean Suite, that's what happened. And so, Don had a very, very successful business in a very niche market, which was, specialty and boutique hotel cleaning. And suddenly with not just South by Southwest being canceled, but, the COVID-19 precautions, found himself ready to pivot, and eagerly ready to do that. And so part of that meant that there wasn't the ability to rely on face-to-face interactions, and that the digital experience, be it across the website, social media channels, digital advertising, was going to become the first interaction. So what we did first was we, created those personas that Lynn talked about, and who was it that Clean Suite was trying to reach? What was this new audience, and how could we make the website feel and speak more to that audience? And so, Eve was able to take what you see now and then design, an interface that had a very clear call to action, which was book now, much like you see on this one. But also being able to bring in other information about COVID-19, and also talk more about the expanded suite of services, which now includes, retail environment, commercial environments, residential, as well as the specialty and boutique hotels. So, some of the other changes here were that there's going to be there's going to be an emphasis on organic. So being able to have a blog where Don is going to be able to speak to those target audiences, and so being able to have a place to put those resources, and again, pointing people back to this website from the various different channels. So this was definitely an exciting project, and one where, when you do have these times where pivoting to digital needs to happen very, very quickly, that's one of the great things about digital, is that it can happen quickly. You're not waiting for a trade show to come up on the horizon. You're not having to build out a billboard and wait for that to come into rotation. This is a digital experience that can happen very, very quickly if need be. Any questions from folks, or?
And Eve, do you have anything to add as well about kind of one of the things that I thought about was the navigation, the putting book now, and also adding more personality, because Don can't go into, so many people, every time we talk about this website and they see Don's photo, like, I know that guy, I had a coffee with that guy. And Don has always been involved in the tech community, but also showing up. He's very good at being able to sell in person and being in front of someone, which we don't have the luxury of now.
Yeah, I mean, definitely, with this project, it was that quick pivot where we wanted to actually create a distinguishable and unique brand. So we, quickly put together a brand identity and, allowed that to flow through the rest of the website. The website features testimonials from previous clients. There's always that strong call to action to book. And, it's built in a really flexible and modular way so that we can continue to, um, you know, evolve the content hierarchy, just kind of as the world continues to change.
Awesome. We're going to pause here for a moment. And also, like, if anyone wants to come off of mute or chat some questions, or also talk about some of your own personal experiences, please. This is an opportunity to not only share your experience, but also talk about what you're doing with your business. This is networking, and so we really welcome everyone to be able to speak about their own resources, what you need, what you're able to offer. And so while you're doing that, I also wanted to share the part that we were talking about, that some of these changes are permanent, right? Don didn't approach this expansion of services in order to just say, this is what I'm going to do. So in the next weeks or months, when this is over, I'll just go back to my old way of doing. This is the opportunity to say, it's a yes and. I will be cleaning at a hospitality level service. What needs to be cleaned. So the clients that they provide services for changed, but what he does as a business has not. So I'll pause here for a moment to see if anybody has a question in the chat, has their company that they'd like to speak about, wants to shout out about how good your El Alma taco plate is right now. Any sharing is highly encouraged. All right. Well, moving right along. This is so critical right now.
Oh, sorry. 1 second. I'm gonna
Okay.
we have a request from Megan to be unmuted. So Megan, I think you're unmuted. Let's see. And Megan, if you can't hear us, then feel free to chat the question as well, and we can also read it out loud if that's easier.
All right, we're going to pause just a second and see.
So Megan works for an emergency room.
Oof, thank you, Megan. Okay, and for those, we're just pausing. I think Rhodes is getting her question.
She's very worried about how things will permanently change going forward.
Yeah,
in terms
absolutely.
In terms of digital marketing.
Yeah.
Any insight?
Interestingly enough, my partner actually works in medicine as well, and she's in palliative care, so she's not a frontline worker like you are in the ER. And I do believe in listening in through healthcare experiences. And truth in disclosure, for me, I'm going through cancer treatment right now and daily radiation. And so I'm in a doctor's office every single business day as well. I do believe a lot of things have shifted that may not come back. My parents are in their early 80s and they're in New Orleans. My father was hospitalized just a few weeks ago with pneumonia. My mother started having some symptoms 2 days ago, and she utilized telehealth. She utilized something at 83 years old, and she's Miss Dairy Princess of Alabama, and goodness knows I can't get her to use any of the apps on her phone, but she was able to embrace the opportunity of doing telehealth with her doctor. And I think even when this pandemic is over, that there are certain parts of the population that don't need to go into the doctor's office. One of the things that they're doing for me right now with radiation is I pull into the parking lot and I call them to let them know that I'm there. when it's my turn, they call me back, let me know to come to the sliding doors. They take my temperature at the door. They keep us, I like to call it physical distancing because I don't do social distancing at all, but they keep us physically distanced, and they have protocols that are, I think, super important. And I'd be very hard pressed after weeks and months of these regimens to watch people to go back to that regular way of conducting themselves socially. I'm wearing a mask in the appointments, which is very odd because we realize how much we communicate with people with our whole face, and now we're all just restricted to our eyes. So Megan, that's kind of going into what I think is going to happen within the medical field. I also believe that there's going to be a lot more importance to giving client portals, opportunities for feedback with your healthcare providers, even more importance. So that's kind of my survey group of one. What do other people say, whether or not it has to do with medical, like I just spoke about with Megan, and also knowing in slide 4 or step 4, we will talk about some more of the permanent changes.
Yeah, and I just want to add to that I think what we're seeing is we're seeing people who otherwise would rely on face-to-face communication or face-to-face interactions are having to rely more on digital types of interactions, and that I do feel like we're going to, social media interactions, making sure that messages are displayed on websites and making sure that the information is accurate and up to date on websites, because that's how people are going to be interacting with you. They don't have the luxury of coming to your business, or so the digital marketing component, I think, is a lot of those things which were already there but are going to become even more important. And and I suspect that a lot of these will continue to be important even after we're able to have face-to-face interactions again. And so then Megan also added, how do you think this will affect the already underserved LGBT community? We are so underserved already.
And I don't know if maybe you asked if she's specifically talking about within healthcare, or I'm assuming. And also, I don't want to put Eve on the spot, but also I know that you've got kind of background in working within the LGBT community, within providing help, and this might be something that you may or may not have some thoughts on.
And Megan clarified that yes, her question pertains to within healthcare.
Yeah, I mean, I think we don't know at this time, but one of the things that I think is going to become more important and more seen in digital marketing and digital communication, is this idea of authenticity. I think that as we're relying more on these digital interactions, we're going to see folks become more genuine and authentic in terms of their social channels, less of kind of just, following trends, and more, reacting to what's happening in the world, and making sure that they're connecting authentically with their constituents. So I know that I've personally seen, a lot on the social channels that I follow in the social groups that I'm part of. There has been, much more of a focus on taking care of each other, checking on our virtual neighbors, if you will. And I think that it amazes me, if something like COVID-19 had happened 5 years ago, 10 years ago, the way that we would have, reacted and responded to it would be so different. The fact that we have the technical and social digital tools that we have now to be able to, continue to engage and participate as a community is just fantastic. Because it was a very short time ago that would not have been possible to this level.
That's awesome. Thank you so very much. And this really kind of makes a nice segue into the authenticity conversation that we've been having. And when we were getting ready for this presentation, we were talking about, and there's a link to a great article in Search Engine Land. First, regarding your traffic analysis, when you are looking at your digital channels, it's really important for you to go in and just kind of put a timestamp on whatever day you felt the most impact, but go into your Google Analytics and annotate it like this was the beginning of coronavirus COVID-19 within your company, because your traffic and your search and everything is going to be vastly different from this point forward. Also, your paid search and social media, begin a daily management of it. This is not a time to use Hootsuite, Buffer, HubSpot, and do kind of a set it, forget it messaging. Just to Eve's point, our world is becoming a lot smaller and more connected, and information is flying out there. You know, I guarantee you, I almost want to timestamp this as to where we are in this crisis, because it changes on the daily. So make sure that you are in, if you've decided that social media is important to you, please do not schedule post. Please go in there and do them natively right now. Know the feeling of what your personas are going for and expose yourself and connect with them. It is more important than ever. You are going to see a lot less traffic on the downside, especially if your product is not an essential. But the upside is, this is the time to go out there and invest in some paid strategies, because keywords are down. A lot of the paid ads are down. And so if you know, have a laser focus of what you want, it's a really good time to double down on that strategy. Also, email marketing, it is super cheap and very effective. But please be conscious about how you're using it. I don't know about the rest of you, but I got a statement on COVID-19 from about every single retailer that I utilized, and some of them felt very self-serving and other ones felt very connected. Make sure that you do put these messages out there. It's a reminder that your customers can still connect with you, especially if they traditionally relied on brick and mortar interactions. It's not the time to be dismissive. It's not the time to be insensitive. It is a time to get out there and help, offer a benefit, offer something. You know, you can offer some discount off. Allbirds right now, we just ordered some shoes this morning, and they said if you buy a pair, you can gift a pair to a healthcare worker, because a lot of healthcare workers are having to come home and completely disrobe before bringing anything in the house. So they're doubling up on the amounts of clothing and scrubs and so forth that they need to have. Don't make your coupon COVID-19. Make it something uplifting. Make it make it optimistic. So, and is there any better way to connect with somebody over email? Use tools like Vidyard. You can put a personal video message inside of your email. So if you need that face-to-face interaction, utilize those tools that allow you to have that authentic connection. You know, one of the biggest opportunities I saw was a lot of us talking about, how do we do this, right? How do we take this conversation where, you know, just last month we were all in the Salt Lick having a big lunch and learn, sitting elbow to elbow, and now we're doing it in, you know, spread out across Austin. Upside is we got people listening in from Houston and across the Texas that we didn't have before. But how do we have this connection within video conferencing? And the New York Times put out this awesome article. It was called The Do's and Don'ts of Online Meeting. It talked about muting. It talked about getting lighting with your video camera. It talked about setting an agenda and walking through things. And then they went out there and said, but don'ts is, don't have your kids or your pets in the room because your coworkers don't want to see them. They didn't get their audience. They didn't stop and think. We have all been, as I call it, physical distanced. I don't like social distancing, but we've all been taken from where Rhodes, Eve, and I would be sitting side by side doing this presentation to completely in different parts. And one of my favorite things is both me, Rhodes, Eve, our coworkers all have animals, and we're in the middle of a conversation and you hear somebody bark, or you hear Eve's girls come run in the room, or you hear Rhodes's partner chatting in the background, or if Winnie sees a squirrel, like that delights me. I want to see the pictures of your family and of your kids. And so this was the response of one of the things is, whoa, 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 let me get this straight. Your dog isn't interrupting, or my dog is interrupting your meeting. Your meeting is interrupting my dog. And that was like brilliant. So people kind of tweeted back to the New York Times, and they went back and said, hey guys, sorry, it was a little short-sighted. We shouldn't have done that. And the memes after that were brilliant. So yes, the offending tweet was deleted after 54 minutes. Whoops. But the article was not changed. And they said that they're, our point kind of still stands. We're all doing our best, and it's fine not to be perfect right now. It's fine to try and be as professional as you can. We need to be human, and we need to have interaction. We need it right now. All right, so let's see. I'm going in over here very quick into the chat. Oh, my KUT fellow board member right here. Desi Rainbow parents have stepped up Zoom options for their group as well, and individual outreach for people to connect. Thank you so much. Let's see, social media manager for Signature Care. Do all my posts live. That's Megan, who was talking about from the ER. Yes, do your live posts. Seeing so much more traffic. I'm an anti-scheduler even in good days. But it's great because you not only get into post, but you also have that opportunity to get in the comments and right away and engage with your clients. So that's awesome. Recommend doing live posts right now on regional based. And you want to see your cats. Awesome. My cat is not in the room, but if Cheeto comes back, I'll let you know. Awesome. Any other questions? Let's see, you have some great things you're talking about, Desi Rainbow parents and aspire to age. Would you like to come off mute and share them with us as well? Give.
Sure. Yeah. Thanks, Lynn.
Yeah.
And appreciate you
It's
doing
great to see you.
such a hard time. But yeah, no, this is something that I've been involved with because the Desi community or the South Asian community, it's hugely taboo and they're having lots of issues with LGBT situations and parents acceptance. So I think we've stepped up a lot. And we were going to have a session at DesiQ conference in May, which is now postponed. So we're stepping up and offering more sessions, and anybody in Austin who's available is wonderful. A lot of seniors that we work with, I mean, older adults are technically, they don't usually get on media or online. So we're offering a lot of that, which is wonderful too. We're starting to create a dog therapy option because a mentee of mine from the New Philanthropist actually does dog therapy, and she wants to offer that virtually to patients, people who are hospitalized in the, and alone right now, can't reach out to family. So trying to do a lot of things, but thank you for doing this so we can all learn from each other.
Oh no, that's awesome. Thank you for bringing those to our attention as well. And something, it's like, this is, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. This is by far, I think, the worst and most pervasive crisis that we've seen in our lifetimes. But it's not the only, before things have been regionalized, right? September 11th, or looking over my shoulder at the posters. I lived in New Orleans and came back to Austin because of Hurricane Katrina. There's certain things that we've learned about connectivity. And one of the things that I learned during Hurricane Katrina, and that was 2005, late August of 2005, was learning how to text. That was an adaptation that we had to make because the cell towers were down and you couldn't get a phone line out, but you could get data. And again, those are old flip phones. So if you wanted to send a text, it was 140 characters. For you younger audience, that's why Twitter was 140 characters, fun little fact. But you had to press, remember you had to press the number like 1, 2, 3 times to get to the other letter, and then 1, 2, 3 times to get to the other letter. It is something that is those permanent shifts. And so I think, to your point, we're going to be going through things of being able to connect with the seniors within the LGBT community and teaching them a technology. They're going to learn it. They're going to meet us where we are. Please, in the months that come, when things kind of get back to whatever normalcy we have, don't isolate those people. Don't say, okay, well, that was fun. Let's all come back. Please remember that you're changing behaviors. And some of those behaviors people may feel more comfortable with in the long term. So talk about that with your teams. And with your clients, that when you're doing this offering, it's not just like a coronavirus flash sale. You are changing behaviors in your offerings, and you need to be able to continue to offer them. I'm going to look in real quick. Stephanie from the chamber said, I'm a bit of a perfectionist, but Zoom allows your meetings to do your webinars live. Do you recommend doing these live or let mistakes happen and then or post them live? I think the real question is, it depends. Right here, this is a gathering everyone together, allowing people to interact and to interject, and a squirrel may run by and Winnie may just start barking her head off. But you know what? I would give that up any day, because first, you'll really laugh at her. And second is because I have this opportunity to share space with you all and to connect with you all and to give forums and opportunities for people to talk. If it is something that is mission critical, and even in this day and time, things are that have to be perfect and polished, then by all means, talk to people in your family, find that space, take your, if you're doing a podcast or whatever that's going to live in a time capsule, you may choose to be the perfectionist and not allow to have hiccups. And what we're going through right now shouldn't change your intent in that content delivery. So Megan says it's humanizing to do it live. Yeah, that's what we're doing. All right, glad we have fur babies. Oh, Christy, our coworker at 7th Scout, has a needy fur baby right now. And Stephanie, you're very welcome. All right, so any other questions about, again, the perfect opportunity? The New York Times gave out content that was important about how to leverage these online meetings, and they were tone deaf to what people needed, and they deleted the tweet and they stopped the conversation. So to me, that's kind of like pushing people out the back door. You're pulling them in and saying, we're here for you, we get you, we understand, please don't let me see your children or your dogs. They really isolated a lot of people and missed an opportunity. All right, and so the last part that we were talking about, and Megan kind of alluded to earlier, this is a marathon and not a sprint. And this is, again, just kind of one specific, and again, we work in B2B space, but I found this graphic very, very telling. And this goes back to the event marketing community. And so event marketers have suffered a heartbreak over the last month. Tighter and tighter regulations are coming into play. It's meant the majority of trade shows have either voluntarily or legally canceled. So, but with 28% of marketers polled by this IEE global spec, they're reinvesting their trade show budget if they reinvest into digital advertising. But if you notice first, 50% of that budget just went away. They are not going to take that budget. Those who said that, okay, fine, we will find other space for it, 28% went into shifting into digital advertising. I thought that was huge. The other ones will shift the money into content creation, and the other one will shift money into travel budgets. But by far, the biggest shift is going to be into digital advertising and digital strategy. So, some shifts that people are making just like this are going to be permanent. So what would you learn from this if you were an event marketer? What would you do that would say, okay, in order for me to make it through this time, this is the way I need to pivot my business plan? But also, let's talk about some things. Post 9/11, before 9/11 happened, I remember I'd love to go pick up friends from the airport. I would meet them at the gate. That was such a privilege. That was such a neat thing to be sitting there. But really, was that necessary? Is that interaction right there where I'm sitting right outside the door of an airplane? It had never been threatened before. It had never been challenged before. But when we moved people back into the baggage claim on the other side of security, because we were all scared that another plane was going to be hijacked, we never went back to that interaction of allowing people past security that weren't flying that day. Other things, clear bag policies. That's another shift that came through out of a lot of this issues and incidents of people bringing things into public spaces. And I would tell you, I don't think in my lifetime I'm going to see anybody on the other side of security again. I don't think I'm going to see an arena that doesn't have metal detectors and clear bag policies too. So I say these as we all think we're going to get back to the status quo, and we always do, but there's going to be things that are still going to be on the table that are fundamental shifts of how we do business that no one is going to be brave enough or ill-advised enough to take away from our consumers and from our populace. So basically that's us. We've got about, it looks like 15 minutes left for questions, for comments, for sharing. for nachos, for queso. But I just wanted to, let's see if we can go into some questions. Don't see any more chats that we did not address. I'd love to hear, I might start picking on people that I know are out there, and kind of hear a little bit about what you all are doing. Again, we've got a very narrow focus. We wanted to be together with you all, but by all means, I love hearing from you know, people who are doing nonprofit services for the elderly in the LGBT community and specifically within the Asian community. I want to hear more about from like the Megans who are working in ERs. I know it's going to be hard, but I'm actually going to go on mute and I want to hear, Megan has 3 jobs. Awesome. All right. Well, I want to hear from you all a little bit more. And Rhodes, if you'll watch the chat, both of us will. We're going to bring some people off mute and have them share. And you know who I'm going to put on the spot right now is Tina Cannon. Tina, I'm going to put you on the spot because of your experience from City Hall, your experience from the Austin Chamber, now leading the Chamber. What are things that you're seeing the Chamber doing to keep us together as a community and as businesses? And also, what are those things that that you want to keep around? So.
No, I appreciate it. Thank you so much to Seven Scout and the team for putting this together. We really do appreciate when all of our members that we're seeing are really stepping up and offering their insight and their expertise on issues. And we really just see a broader sense of community since this has all begun. We're appreciative of that. Our chamber, along with our sister chambers in the area and then throughout the state of Texas, the primary thing that chambers do is connection and advocacy. And those two things have never been more important than in today's time. Making sure that our members are connected with each other, making sure the community knows that those resources are available, and that the broader community is being very deliberate about their engagement and where they're spending their very limited dollars these days. And then on the advocacy front, we are seeing an enormous amount of change. Sometimes so fast and so furious that the different legal entities are not on the same page. We experienced that this last week with the city and the county offering 2 different pronouncements about how businesses and which businesses could operate. Neither of those 2 pronouncements matched. Through advocacy efforts, we tried to work with the city and the county to get some clarity. And of course, as you would imagine, they are running at 1,000 miles an hour as well. And ultimately, we grouped together with other organizations in town and went straight to the governor. And the governor issued his pronouncement yesterday, which of course supersedes all of the conflicts that are happening at the local and state level. So really, the chambers are really working to be an even larger resource and on the pulse of everything that is changing and hoping to impact some of those changes. At the federal level, we work with all of our national chamber partners to craft what then became the CARES Act to make sure that we were including organizations, entities, business verticals that may have been overlooked in the rush to get the legislation, the much needed legislation, out to the community. So chambers have always been a connector. We've always been about supporting, but we've always been about advocacy. And I think it's important that we're highlighting our members who are doing the good work that you are doing. We're highlighting our members that are there for the community, like our friends in the ERs around town, and that we are being your voice as an advocate as you are trying to kind of maneuver new waters. Our job is to make sure that we are out there on the forefront, maneuvering through public policy that will help your businesses. So we really appreciate everybody's engagement in this weird time that we're living.
Absolutely. Thank you. And I'm going to do something right now. I'm going to stop the share. I'm going to put us all into a gallery view where we can see everybody. Let's see, can I do that? Yeah. Oh, this is awesome. You know what I encourage? I'm going to do this really quickly. We had a chat that someone was doing, and it was about Jenna wanting to know, because she's a commercial photographer and she wanted to know what could she do. Right now she was doing weddings and so forth, so we can think about how we can help Jenna in pivoting. At the same time, I'm going to put myself on mute and I'm going to grab Winnie, and I want to see all of your fur babies, and I want to see your children, and I want to see everybody so that we can have the opportunity. You could stay on mute, but go grab your kids and let's have a little bit moment of connection as we're staring down about 5 more minutes. And if you don't have any kids, you don't have to come off of your video or whatever. Megan got her cat. We got some cats, some dogs, and everything. Yes. All right. I'm gonna be right back and grab Winnie.
Yeah, Jenna, I'll be at your place later. If you could just put your dog outside, I'll come pick her up. That'd be great.
No way.
Well, we're going to prove the New York Times wrong, right? Right now, the Austin LGBT Chamber says you guys were wrong.
Good stuff. That was a good moment. We appreciate that.
All right. And I see Don right there. Don's the owner of Clean Suite, the one that we worked with. He's got 3 girls right now. And so I don't know if it's a blessing or a curse that all 3 of them are not running up into the camera and clobbering you. All right, everybody.
Well,
hi, Jody. Hi, Kai.
And just before we leave, Jenna also had a question about what are some topics that aren't COVID-19 related that you think people want to hear about, which I think is, in this era of trying to leverage social media channels, what are some of those topics that we can use and share that aren't strictly COVID-19 related?
I was thinking about Jenna's business as well. It's like she's creatrix of photography and does such a wonderful job of capturing people. Now, obviously, we can't have group gatherings, right? So there's not going to be the opportunity for you to interact with weddings and events and so forth. But what you do have is you have that ability to connect people through photography. And I'm kind of running extemporaneously right now, but my mom and dad won't hop on a Zoom. It's very hard for them to connect, but I know they feel isolated from their grandchildren. And you are the one who can take not only an image, but you can put them together and you can tell a story. And I think that you should be able to work with some of your clients and be able to loop something together that connects someone, that whether it's put up on a web page or put within an email or something that kind of brings families together, where everybody could submit photos of what they're going through and you could edit them and you can bring them together within a storyline. I know that that's what I want right now, is I want to be able to see people that I can't connect with. So off the top of my head, I'd hire you to bring together my family in a series of photographs and so forth, and we can capture this moment.
Thank you for the advice. I appreciate it.
I think Megan had a great one, said national holidays, stories about giving, fun TikToks, cooperative videos, trending fun, Twitter, fun uplifting trends. Yeah, great ideas. Awesome. All right. Well, I want to be respectful of everybody's time. I think we're starting to lose people. Thank you all so very much. We'll share this presentation. Bye, Jody and Kai. I love seeing you guys. That's Kai Evans. Search for Kai Evans, celebrity fitness trainer, right there. The guy's amazing. Yes. Kai, what are you up to right now?
Are we on?
Yeah.
Am I on?
Yes.
All right.
You're always on, Kai.
The young lady with the photography business you just spoke about, similar to what, we're pivoting into, our whole brand was going in kind of like a gym rescue and saving boutique gyms all over the world. And now that every gym is closed, we're creating online courses now and a certification for them to up their game. And we're rolling out a bunch of different kind of courses. I don't know how to take a picture. Why don't you shoot? I'll buy one from you, how to shoot camera stuff. Like, I have no idea how to use my iPhone. Like, education now is at its finest. We're all spending money, no matter how this is affecting us as far as money-wise. We're still dishing money out on education every day. People are stuck at home with the master classes and all these things. So we found that we're pivoting that way.
Right. And so, like, his genius zone is fitness, right? Like, yours is photography. Ours is clearly not photography. So we struggle in pictures that we're now trying to put up. And so that would be something, if you're good at photo editing, I don't know if it's just taking the picture, but doing like a tutorial or some sort of online class or program or something would be amazing, because
I would buy it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm having Instagram lives now, and I'm always like shooting my kneecaps or my elbow. Like, it's awful.
Well, you have such nice kneecaps and elbows.
Thank you.
We miss you.
We love you.
Love and miss you too. So that's Kai, K-Y, Evans, E-V-A-N-S, and that's Creatrix Photography.
Perfect.
So
Love it.
You guys make sure to connect. Any other questions? Please feel free to come off mute. If not, we'll wrap this up and with a bow and send it back to the chamber.
Not a question, but Lynn, it's Gunnar here. I just wanted to say what a badass you are and how amazing you look, coming off of radiation and then coming and doing this webinar with us and for us. You are such an inspiration, and you are just an all-around badass. You deserve everything that you have. So thank you so much from all of us here at the Chamber.
Hey, I need this. I need this. We all need this. We're in it together, and let's keep smiles on our faces and let's keep doing it.
Absolutely. And thank you, Rose and Eve, as well.
Cool.
Thank you guys so much.
You got it. Thanks, everybody. Be
Thank
careful.
you. Have a
Reach
good
out if you
day.
need us.
Stay
Reach
safe.
out to the chamber. All these awesome people.